Alright everyone, I'm back from my little break. I was one with nature. I communed with nature. Here we are. Let's do a little cleanup and we'll get back to painting. We've gone through my little slideshow presentation of my trip. Hopefully that wasn't too boring for you guys. I don't know. I wanted to show off some of the pictures that we took and show some of the places that we've been because it's interesting. I think Canada's a really interesting place. That's the conclusion that I've come to. But that should have been self-evident actually. I should have known better that it's a beautiful place. And yeah, if anyone within Canada is thinking about going on vacation, going on a trip, and you're thinking about going to the States, why not reconsider and try checking out more of Canada, because it's really, really great. Let's lower down this. It's not like I've been everywhere in Canada, but prior to this trip, I've only been to 2 provinces, Ontario, which is where I'm from, and Quebec. Those are the only 2 provinces that I've been to in Canada. But thanks to this trip, I've been to now 3 more provinces: New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia. And each one had a character of its own. Really great. And I'd like to see more of Canada. I'd like to get out to the West Coast. I'd like to get out to Newfoundland. Mojo, I think Bloodborne is the cure to video game burnout. Are you playing it right now as we speak? Is it curing your burnout? It's a beautiful game, Bloodborne. I'm still not finished Elden Ring, but every time I play Elden Ring, I'm often reminded of how beautifully designed Bloodborne is and how tightly constructed of a game it is. There's no fat. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all killer, no filler, and it's the inverse is true of Elden Ring, where it's just a lot of filler, and periodically you'll get killer. Mojo, how'd you get out to Halifax? Yeah, so it was a road trip. We drove. And we had a couple of stops along the way, and we weren't only going to Halifax. We were, like I said, we went to Prince Edward Island, and then we went to Nova Scotia, Halifax, and then we went to New Brunswick. Or, well, I guess New Brunswick was like a place that we were passing through, kind of. But yeah, that's how we did that. Mojo, I started a new game just now. Finished creating a new character. Strength in Arcane? Is the threaded cane optimal for such a build? I know Arcane is pretty good with the threaded cane, but I didn't know about strength. But that was actually the first weapon that I used in Bloodborne when I first played it, was the threaded cane. Really, really good weapon. Really fun to use. And I think I defeated the final boss with it too. Yeah, for sure. Just using the threaded cane for the beginning. Okay, so what's the ultimate weapon that you'll be using? Oh, you know what? Let's change our category. And we'll go back to makers. Where is makers? Oh, I put markers. There you go. There we go. Never used Holy Moonlight Blade in Bloodborne? Oh, really? It's a good one. And yeah, for strength in Arcane, I guess that'd be the best one, right? I got really into the nitty-gritty of stats and how Arcane works in Bloodborne the last time I played it. Because ultimately, if you're going for a pure Arcane build in Bloodborne, you probably want to stop using weapons as your primary offense, and eventually you want to transition into using more of the hunter tools, actually. Because my understanding is that the weapons will eventually cap. Well, you'll hit the hard cap in the stats, right? And so you're not really going to get a lot of benefit for buffing up Arcane after a certain point. However, with the hunter's tools, which is to say, like, effectively the magic spells of the game, there's no cap, and so you can continually buff your Arcane stat, and all of your Arcane hunter tools will benefit from the buff constantly, which is pretty crazy to think about. So that's what I did last time. And I also used the I believe it's called the parasite, the cost parasite weapon. Was that what it is? The big tentacles. I eventually used the tentacles, and I was playing PvP. It was fun. It was pretty fun. The tentacles are a bit of a cheaty in a sense in PvP, because they go through obstacles. Like, usually when you're fighting with normal weapons in Bloodborne, the weapons and swords will clash against walls and fences and stuff, right? Except for the tentacles. The tentacles actually go through them. So when I was playing PvP, I would put an obstacle in between us and just attack through it, and I'd win that way. Very cheap. Mojo, gonna build for that and also utilize the hunter's tools? Yeah. Give it a try. It's fun. Yeah, Bloodborne's a great game. I don't need to tell you that, but yeah, really good stuff. As I said, I'm still not done Elden Ring. I'll get around to it eventually, but yeah, Bloodborne, very good. Just getting some gold on all of this stuff. It's gonna take a couple of layers, I think, to get a nice solid coating. So yeah, while I was away, I was still thinking of the stream, still thinking of ideas on how to improve the stream and do some fun stuff. So over the next few days, I'll be working on that, on some fun little things like different rewards that we can do on the stream. And oh, by the way, so I have what do they call it? Like a group reward. Is it here? Can I see this? Yeah, a group reward challenge. Viewers decide on mini to paint next. It was in danger, like 2 days ago or a day ago, it was in danger of expiring. It was almost, the days were almost complete, and we only reached 22%. So you're able to extend it, like infinitely, as long as it takes. So that's what I did. I extended it. So if you guys are looking for ways to waste your cash, not your cash, your Energon cubes, there's no money involved, guys. All it asks is for you to watch watch the stream and gather points. That's one way you can do it. But yeah, I'm thinking of some other things that we can do. Have some fun on the stream. Gotta let that dry. Let's see. All of these things, I've put about 2 coats on, so now we're gonna put like a 3rd coat. We're just gonna get it ready. Also gotta shake this thing up. Pardon me while I shake it up. Also, I'm noticing that I need to kind of reposition this stuff. I hit the camera while we were going over stuff, so I kind of need to reposition the lights. And yeah, let me just shake this thing up, guys. Shake it up. So the stream, I've got some ideas, and on the YouTube, and even just making art and stuff. I've been thinking about all these things while we were on our trip, so hopefully I can kind of focus in and try and pull off some of these things that I've been thinking about. It's funny, like you go on vacation, but you know your mind is still kind of off in the distance, still thinking about stream stuff, still thinking about things you can do, even though you should be just relaxing. And yeah, I mentioned it before, but especially with the whale watching footage, my footage was not all that great, and my pictures. However, my mom and Night Trap took some really good ones. This is very Sloth music, Eshwin. Slothy. Welcome to Sloth Jams. Welcome to Sloth Jams 107.9. Sloth Jams. You feeling slothy tonight? Lying on a tree branch. Slothy. Let's put a little more. This is the retarder. There we are. Don't want to put too much of that stuff. So what are you up to today there, Eshwin? What are you, what's the plan for you in Montreal? Yeah, you know, on our trip we passed by it, but we never really stopped. It wasn't part of our plan to like stop and do things in Montreal. But maybe that could be something for another time. It's pretty crazy to think that right after Montreal is New Brunswick, and that's sort of the start of like Atlantic Canada. And once you cross over into New Brunswick, you are now in a new time zone. It's a different time zone, and it's just 1 hour. It's just 1 hour ahead. So it doesn't seem like a big deal, but the more you sort of stay within that time zone and the more you travel within Atlantic Canada, the more pronounced it feels, to the point where it seemed like the days were longer. And again, it was just 1 hour, and actually it was even more impactful going back and heading back to you know, Ontario and Quebec, you could really feel the time zones going that way too. So it's pretty interesting. Ashwin, I found a diabetes-friendly place up the road. And you took a nice nap? Damn, that sounds nice. Sounds very sloth-like. Just got up, want to do some shopping and sightseeing. I think I catch what you're... I think I get the gist of what you're saying. Yeah, your stream yesterday, Ashwin, was quite entertaining. Although I think eventually you're kind of like just too far gone. You're just like off your rocker. It was good. It was fun. Do you get hangovers very much after such a day, such an evening of drinking? Do you get much of a hangover? Or are you immune? Do you have the immunity to hangover genes? Like Logan. I don't think Wolverine gets hungover, because like his body is like healing himself from effectively being poisoned. His body is constantly healing himself. So he can't get drunk. Is that a thing? I feel like that's a thing. Your espresso machine got busted? I know you were messing around with it, but it eventually just went kaput. That's funny. I guess you're gonna have to try and fix it before you leave, otherwise they might charge you or something. We're just painting gold stuff, as you can see. Yeah, can Wolverine even get drunk? No. Yeah, I don't think he can get drunk. Hold on a second. Properties. Okay. It's fine, but somehow you disassembled it? Oh, okay. It's fine, but it's disassembled. I'm fine, I'm just disassembled. I'm just all taken apart, but I'm fine. Yeah, the more thin layers of gold that I apply to this, the more luster it has, which is good. I'm feeling very good about the gold on this in particular. It has a very shiny look to it. Let's hold it up to the camera there, guys. Looking pretty good. We'll let that dry and we'll hit up the other side. These all need to be done. It looks decent. There's more we can do to it. I'll be adding like some highlights. And I'll be adding some shadows to it too, to kind of create more sharper contrast. If you just use it straight up like this, it's not bad, but there are some little tricks that you can do to make it even nicer. I actually did quite a bit of research into gold paint for model painting lately, and I was very, very close to buying a different kind of product for gold paint, but in my research it seemed like it was kind of tricky to use. I'm talking about alcohol-based real metallic flake paint. So the little metallic shining particles in this paint and in most gold paints are not made of actual metal. It's some kind of other reflective material that's just microscopic in size. And for the most part, it's pretty decent. However, you can buy real metallic paint with real metal in it, and I think it's not gold, right? In the case of gold, I think it's still aluminum, but it's been treated with some kind of process to make it gold. But yeah, the results look really, really nice, but I think it's just, I wasn't really ready to get into that, and maybe for another project we'll try it out. Eshwin looks as close to real metal as possible. Oh, we can get a lot closer actually. We can actually push it a lot more. There are results. You can see online the way people paint gold, and yeah, they push it a whole lot further. So we're gonna try and push it even farther. Mojo, the wolves got you? The wolves? Oh wait, you mean like the werewolves in Bloodborne? I don't even bother with those guys, like trying to parry them. No way. Just fight them through a door. If those are the ones you're talking about, the werewolf guys. Just fight them through a door, dude. That's what I do. I don't try and parry those types of enemies. Okay, well, yeah, we're gonna have to let that dry. Again, if you look really, really closely, let's see here, it still looks patchy to me. So we're gonna apply some more layers. Yeah, if you hold it up to certain angles, it looks a little patchy, and that's because I've been painting it very, very thin. So we're gonna hit some more layers on that and get it to a point where it's not patchy. Gotta get good, Mojo. Get good. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when I hear that, I get so annoyed. Like, you know, if you're streaming and you die and then someone's like, get good, I'm like, But it's true, you just gotta get good. Even better than getting good is just doing whatever's cheap, though. Do whatever is cheesy. And my philosophy ever since playing the original Demon Souls was, this game is being mad cheap. So let's be mad cheap back. Okay, hold on a sec, guys. Hold on a sec. So how many times have you played Bloodborne there, Mojo? I feel like you've probably gone through the game maybe 3 or 4 times at this point, and this will be your 4th or 5th time. There's always room for more Bloodborne. There's always room for more runs at Bloodborne. This thing looks fine. Once we finish the gold on this, there really isn't much more to do for this model. And I can finally assemble it or spray it with sealant, and then we'll be done. And that'll be great. Okay, what are we looking at here? Over here. So I got back the other day, right, from our trip. Today is Thursday, so we got back Tuesday? Like Tuesday in the evening or something like that. And I pretty much just went to sleep and just kind of passed out. But even all day yesterday, I was kind of like just feeling a little lethargic. It was definitely not in the plan to stream yesterday. Felt like I needed to just chill out. I still did some stream related things in terms of I got some new music to play on stream, and I was organizing my photos for my little photo thing there, my slideshow. And even today I was like, ooh, do I want to stream today? I'm not really sure if I want to go do it, but yeah, I might as well. I figured I might as well stream, get back into it, and here we are. Mojo, I think I went through 7 playthroughs in total. Holy smokes. Yeah, I don't think I got up to 7, but I've probably had like 5 now. I'm actually still in the middle of possibly my 5th or 6th playthrough. The Arcane build. I'm just about finished the DLC, but I kind of stopped. I can come back to it anytime. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'm always down for more Bloodborne. How many times did you play Elden Ring, Mojo? There we go. It's starting to look a whole lot more... It's starting to look a lot brighter. It's... From the camera here, it looks a little dull, judging from looking at my second screen, but in person it looks a lot brighter. And we're gonna take some steps to make it look more contrasty and more reflective. As I hold it to the light in different angles, you can kind of see how reflective it is. But yeah, we're gonna kind of push that. That actually reminds me that I need to go and buy some extra paint. I think I need some different kinds of paint, but we'll see. Let's wash this off, and I gotta get more gold. Mojo, I think I beat Elden Ring 3 times for the platinum. Wow. But I guess by the 2nd and 3rd playthrough, you don't actually have to repeat as much stuff, right? You can kind of just fast track it to the things that you need to do. Because I think I'll only ever play that game once. There's just so much in it, and I don't know. Let's just try and reposition our lighting here. Got some shadows. Blow out the shadows. Good enough. Do you think they're gonna release Bloodborne DLC? Sorry, Elden Ring DLC this year? It's also looking a little overcast today. It's kind of shadowy. That's also contributing to the slightly dim colors. So yeah, let's try and get one solid coating. Not one, but a solid coating on of the gold here on everything. I'm not 100% satisfied with the coating thus far. We're getting there. It's really just a matter of working in the several thin layers and getting to a point where you're happy with it, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, let's take a look. So this looks pretty good as far as like a solid coating. This looks pretty good. So let's put this aside as an example of something that I'm happy with. And let's examine all the other stuff here. And now this seems pretty solid now too. So we'll set this aside. I see a little bit of the dark brown underneath on that one, but it's I'll live with it. Ashwin, you know it's all good and fine that they teamed up with the Game of Thrones guy, but where is the Junji Ito based Souls game, or has it already been made, Bloodborne? Well, you know, the thing with that, Ashwin, is that Junji Ito, while he does work in horror, the horror that comes from his stories is a more creeping, and it's a slow burn kind of horror that's gradual. And it's not a horror that comes from an excessive amount of gore as we often see with FromSoft games. It's not like they're obsessed with gore and violence and blood and stuff, but the creepiness is not the same. And I wonder if Junji Ito's style of horror would be appropriate for an action-based RPG title, and rather we should be thinking more along the lines of like a psychological horror, such as Silent Hill, or maybe the Evil Within. As a matter of fact, Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, back when they were working on what was allegedly Silent Hills, not allegedly, we knew it was going to be called Silent Hills, but the only thing that we have seen from it was, of course, PT, playable trailer, right? Well, they had consulted. We know that Junji Ito was consulted to some extent for the future project, not PT itself, but the project that would have go on to become. However, that did not materialize, so we did not see anything from that, sadly. Uh-oh. We got a thought. Let me get rid of this manual. Mojo, Bloodborne would be the closest to Junji Ito, I guess, in a sense, with the exception of all the things I was just talking about. Not Slide. Junji Ito would be good for Silent Hill, right, and that's about it. Yeah, I'm more along those lines. Begone, thought. Night Trap. I think Night Trap stepped out for a bit. Yeah, that's the Ito connection. That is cool, and so there is something that you can find online. It's like a concept trailer for PT or Silent Hills, and in it you can see something that felt distinctly Ito-esque, and it's not within PT, the game itself. So PT is in the game you're mostly just going through corridors, right? Like these small hallways, and periodically you'll see whatever her name is, the scary, creepy person being scary and creepy, right? and it was awesome. Like it was really well done. However, in the concept trailer, there's one part of it where it's the same kind of hallway situation, but instead of turning into the hallway and you see the ghost, there's just this massive, like, creepy, it's like the same kind of scary, creepy woman, but she's so massive that she's basically like filling the entire hallway and crowding it in a weird and uncomfortable way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like she's just like crammed into it such that her limbs are kind of just like stuffed in weird positions. Like it's weird. And to me that felt very Junji Ito-esque, even though I don't think he was working on PT at all. I felt very Junji Ito-esque just because it felt very analogous to the horror that we see in his manga, where, and I've talked about this before, where you'll simply turn a page in his manga and then you'll be greeted with this full page spread of something really disturbing, something really gross and odd, right? And it's the effect of going from these sort of single pages with like 9 panels or whatever to turning the page and then being greeted with a full page image of something horrific. That act of doing that felt very similar to what you see in PT when you're turning a corner from one like hallway into the next hallway and seeing something scary. That felt very similar. Notslide has contributed 6,000 points to the viewers decide on Mini to Paint Challenge next challenge. Yes, thank you, Notslide. I need to come up with a catchier name for that. Next time I do this, I'll come up with a catchier name. But thank you. Appreciate it. I extended it, by the way. It was going to expire like 2 days ago, so I extended it. Eshwin, I think a primitive PC point and click game might be good. Or one of those slow old walking sim horror games. Yeah, it's walking sim. Eshwin Ito is bonkers mad. He is beyond shambling zombie horror. Right, yeah. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, I think we would need a different kind of horror. Not necessarily your From Software style horror for a Junji Ito game, I think. Okay, let's get some different music on. Do. Okay, this thing in particular, it's not as solid. The paint, I can tell it's not as solid, so we got to work on this a bit more. But it also needs to dry. I can tell that the retarder has not fully dried, so gotta wait on that. So we'll work on this. This is the other side. It looks actually pretty good on both sides now, the gold here. So I might just leave it alone. Just leave that. We're just slowly going through all these parts. But yeah, I'm glad to be back streaming. It's been a couple of days. I mean, it wasn't that long in the grand scheme of things, but I did try and to catch anyone who was streaming that we know. Try to catch anyone if I could. It was a little tricky sometimes because of hotel internet was not great, or if I was not in a hotel, I was in a casino or someplace, you know. The internet wasn't great in all the places that I've been to, so it was a little tricky, but, you know, if I could, I tried. But I'm happy to be back and chatting with everyone. That's very nice. It's just a nice thing to do while I'm working on these models. I was talking about this before, but I would have been doing this anyways, right? I would have been painting models, building models anyways, but thanks to streaming, I've been able to do a whole lot more of it, be a whole lot more productive, and I get to interact with all of you guys, so that's great. And meet a lot of different people from around the world and stuff. That's really cool. Or even some Canadians as well. That's really neat. That's really neat. But, you know, I'm the type of person that's very, like, what's the word? It's not like I love going outdoors. You know, there's people that are like, oh, I love the outdoors, I love going out, I love going to different places and all of this. You know, I get it, I like that too, but I'm not like super crazy about it, right? Like, I'm also very happy to just be at home and painting away at my models and chatting with people and watching other streams and, you know, just doing home stuff, right? I'm happy to do that. But that being said, I think it was really good to get out and go on a trip like I did, and just touch grass. Is that what people say? I think that phrase is used more in a derogatory sense, but yeah, it was good to just go out and see the wider world, see not even the wider world, right? See Canada, see what's out there. I think that was really good to do for me as a human being. And it made me think about other places I'd like to visit in the future too, you know? And yeah, I definitely would like to see more of Canada. I've kind of harped on that already a few times, that your natural inclination as a Canadian is, if you're gonna take a holiday, is to go out and go to Europe, go to America, do something that's not in Canada. But this trip made me really appreciate different parts of Canada, you know? And it's just such a beautiful place. I feel like I haven't really fully captured that with my photos and everything, unfortunately. I feel like I wasn't able to fully capture it, but maybe no one really can, and it's one of those things where you just gotta experience it yourself. Touch potatoes? Touch potatoes, Ashwin. Ashwin, I always hear about PEI in the whole Maritimes area, but I've seen so little of it. Yeah, I think it's a place it's worth checking out, especially if you're really into nature and stuff too. And I was talking about this earlier, just how you'll see a lot of things that you're used to in a place like PEI. You'll see a lot of trees, you'll see a lot of farms, and yet somehow I feel like the farms just feel a little different in PEI, and it's weird. I was saying it feels like a little storybook, because you know, you are on a little island, and everything seems a little more intimate and closer. It's very odd. It's very odd. And I'm sure it's summer is the best time, but places like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, where there's like a lot of trees, like it's crazy how many trees and mountains and trees there are. I'm sure in the fall it looks stunning. Cleric Beast 1, Mojo 0? What? Why don't you use Kentwan's strategy there? Do you remember his strategy? What was it? It was like running around and throwing the blood vials or something, and making him like just stare at a corner and just smacking his bum. Oh, by the way, because I've been doing a lot of research about sloths for my little sloth pal here in the corner, I saw some pictures of wet sloths, and they go from being like a harmless, cute animal to being basically a bloodborne monster. Like, this is your homework right now, guys, for anyone listening. Google search wet sloth, and one image in particular, it'll be one of the first few results. It looks like the blood-starved beast. It's like, wait, what happened to my cute little sloth? And yeah, there's a couple of other pictures of wet sloths. Wet sloths and wet koalas, very disturbing animals when they're wet. It's like gremlins. The mogwai is cute until you wet it, and then it's bad news. Ashwin, you should still make an effort to see other countries, if only to appreciate Canada more. Right. I totally agree about that as well. But my feeling is that the initial reaction for so many people is to simply, so many Canadians, that is to simply default to going outside of Canada when really there's so much nice stuff in Canada too. Well, I don't know about so much nice stuff, because after all, there is a lot of trees, and it's that whole middle part of Canada that, like, I have this romantic notion, romantic in the literary sense, not the lovey-dovey sense, but I have this romantic notion of taking a train ride to the West Coast, or taking a train ride anywhere into another country or whatever, in other countries. But with Canada in particular, it's like, man, if I were to take a train to the West Coast, I think I might be bored half to tears, because you're just going to be in for a lot of trees and farms. And on this road trip, I saw a lot of trees and farms. And to have more of that on a countrywide scale, I don't know, dude. Ashwin, the hair drips down and makes the whole thing look like it's dripping tar, and the shape of its body is so horrifying. Yeah. I think maybe on Halloween I'll redraw my sloth guy as a wet sloth. I swear he looks like the blood-starved beast. It's creepy as hell, dude. But that's the sloth, man. That's the reality of sloth. To be a sloth. That is the reality. You have to accept it. The slothnicity. See my arms? I feel like my arms got way more tanned. I should probably... Well, here's the underside of my arm. And there's this. It's kind of... Looks like a sausage or something. Looks like barbecue. But it's even weird because it has the content stoner face. Do you think you'll stream tonight, Eshwin, or today is just a free day, free to gallivant and have more adventures, and then maybe the next day you'll report about said adventures? And I don't know if Bacon will be streaming today. I think he's at work, so it's probably unlikely. The day I got back, Bacon streamed, and that was nice to come back to. Actually, Mary Trunks was one of the first people in the chat, and he saw me and he was like, "Have you quit streaming, Ipo?" I was like, "No, dude. I was away. I was like 2 provinces over." It's looking at whales, dude. There isn't any way to kind of make a notice or something on Twitch, or unless I've completely missed it. There, you know, in hindsight, I maybe could have found a way to leave a message or a note saying like, "I'll be away for a week. I'm not gone, I'm not dead, I haven't quit streaming. Don't be alarmed." I mean, in theory, I could have attempted to stream from the hotel or something, but I don't know really what I would have streamed, and the internet is always so spotty at hotels, at least the ones I've been to. So yeah, it seemed like it was probably going to be more of a headache than it was worth. But it would be pretty funny to buy a model kit or maybe just draw. You know, I actually did bring a sketchbook and some pens to draw. But it just didn't really work out, like, you know? Because, I don't know, I feel like if I want to draw, I gotta really kind of have a moment to myself, and, you know, where I'm traveling with my family, so it was a little, you know, we had a very tight schedule, really, to do everything, so there wasn't really an opportunity for that, but there's some visuals that I have stuck in my mind that I would love to draw or paint. I'd love to draw a whale. I've been talking about whales, but I think it'd be fun to kind of draw a whale or something like that. Or build a model kit of a whale. I don't know if they actually have such a thing. I know that Bandai Namco have released recently a shark model kit of some kind. It's more of like an educational kit intended for children. However, yeah, I think that's pretty neat, and yeah, I'd be down to find a model kit or a Lego set maybe. If there was a Lego set of a whale, that might be kind of fun. Ashwin, I don't want to miss the street life, so I may just stream at this time tomorrow, if at all, a simple art stream. Cool. Yeah, just keep it simple. But you know what? I say, take this time and just prioritize you. Prioritize having a really great experience and doing all the things that you want to do, and don't worry about streaming. Maybe take some photos, and you can always report back and tell us about it later. So yeah, you don't have to worry about streaming necessarily. Just enjoy yourself. If you want to have like a setup where you're streaming live on locations, like, you kind of need to get into a lot higher level equipment and stuff, right? I was watching, I think you mentioned it yourself, I told you about it, but I know you mentioned it recently, paleontologizing. He's going out and he's visiting many museums in the United States. I was watching him yesterday, and he has a pretty sophisticated setup, I guess. However, even is running into trouble in terms of broadcasting, and at one point he wasn't even sure if he was broadcasting. Like, he couldn't see the chat. So yeah, like, it seems like it's a pretty tricky thing to nail down if you want to stream live, like, out and about. Eshwin, I watched Star Trek 4 recently, and for a Trek movie with practically no actual villain, it holds up very well. Yeah, that's the whale one, right? That's one of my favorite Star Trek movies, even though it is a little it's a little different compared to other movies. I'm pretty sure that one's directed by Leonard Nimoy, I believe. And yeah, it's a really fun movie, and I feel like I watched other Trek movies in the theater, but that's the one I remember watching and really loving in the theaters as a kid. I love that one. And it's still a very mysterious movie. I don't know if some of those plot threads were ever picked up in a later show or book or anything regarding the actual nature of that alien probe, like where it came from, what it wanted with the whales, you know? It's very mysterious in that sense, and I kind of love it for that they don't really explain all of that. What did it want? Why was it gonna destroy planet? I mean, you can come to your own conclusions and stuff, but there's no deeper lore as to its origin or anything. There's nothing like that. It's all up to you to figure that out. But I kind of love that. 2, 4, and 6. Chef's Kiss. The same, I remembered it from the theaters. Yeah, it was a great movie to watch in theaters. And there's so many memorable moments, right? Like the punk rock guy, right? On the bus. That guy, the punk rock dude, is in the first Tom Holland SpiderMan movie. There's a scene where Spider-Man's just doing Spider-Man stuff, and he's up on the roof of a building, and another person, someone else, screams to him, "Do a flip!" Right? And then he flips. But the guy beside him, who, if I'm not mistaken, is still holding a boombox, and he's like an older punk person, that is the guy. That's the very same guy, if I'm not mistaken. Which is pretty hilarious. Ashwin, Leonard Nimoy was like, "I never thought it important to show what the probe was saying to the whales. It was enough to leave it to people's imagination." Paraphrasing. Yeah, that's awesome. Although, you know, now that it's been several years, and you know how it is with Hollywood and shit like that, like I'm so surprised that no one has decided to really just peer further into that and really just come up with some cockamamie excuse for why that all happened, you know, and it'll be super unsatisfying, but yeah. I just realized that I have all these little tubes that need to be painted gold, so I guess we're gonna do that. Okay, let's actually touch this. I think we need to let this dry a little more. Yeah, you can see that it is shiny, but it's kind of like a dark luster. And there is, if you look closely, you can kind of see still the underneath the brown and black undercoating. And I'd like to get to a point where that's not as pronounced. But when you're looking at this with the naked eye, not on camera, it looks quite good. Far better than the original molded plastic, at least. Injection molded gold, very it's very Lego Ninjago like. That's what I always come back to. Here you go. Here's actually an example. Here's an example of how it looked originally. This is intended to be the gold parts, but it was unacceptable in my opinion to leave it like this, so that's why I've gone on to paint it gold. Here's an example of what I've done with the gold. Focus. Focus, you bastard. Yeah. So on the right, that's what I've painted, and on the left is how it comes straight out the box. Not good. I feel like this is an improvement at the very least, and we're gonna push it harder, as I've said. We're gonna push it more, but we might not be able to get around to that today. I'll probably work on it more off stream and then do a bit more on stream. I wonder if it's the same dude in Picard now? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. They do the exact same in Picard? Is that season 1 or 2? Because I didn't watch season 2. Ashwin, what if you hit it with gloss? Yeah, I think if you hit it with gloss, it'll look good. I think if you used a semi-gloss, that's the strat. If you use a full-on gloss, I think it might be a bad idea. Full-on gloss might kind of take it into like the toy-like territory. That was something that here, let's jump a little bit, get some more energy into our sloth pal. But yeah, that's something that Bacon was talking about, because he had painted his Millennium puzzle and it looked really nice, but then he hit it with a gloss coat and then it kind of looked more toy-like after. He remarked that it looked kind of too toyish after, because it was that kind of toyish glossy sheen. So I'm thinking perhaps if I do hit it with a gloss, we'll do it with a semi-gloss rather than a full gloss. However, the metal does have a bit of gloss to it already. I suspect that it does have a little bit of gloss in the paint itself. It's a matter of getting a nice solid coating, I think. And oh, there's a hype train. There is another paint from the same line, Vallejo. This is the model color line, but they do another line called game color, and it's virtually the same formula. However, it has more gloss in it. There's more of a gloss finish to it. And I have one paint from that line, a bronze, and it actually looks really nice with that extra glossy coating. Like, it kind of has a nice look to it, and this one still has a bit of gloss, but not as glossy. In season 2 of Picard, they go to the 21st century Earth. Oh, and Seven of Nine and Raffi are on a bus, and there's a punk dude with a ghetto blaster, even though it's 2024, because Picard is completely and utterly stupid show on every level. Yes, I recall from your rant just yesterday about the failings of Picard. What a shame. What a shame. But anyways, I feel like when things suck, I don't really get upset anymore. I just don't have the energy for it, like, because it just happens far too often nowadays. You know, like when everyone was upset about say the Star Wars prequels, right? You know, I was one of them. I was whining, I was crying too about all of that stuff. Not crying, but you know, I was you know, picking on all the same things everyone was. And then the other Star Wars sequels come out, and then everyone starts complaining about that again, and I was kind of like that too. But after a certain point, it's just so many things are bad now. So many things that we used to love are bad, and I don't have the energy really anymore to get upset about it in a way where I'm like vocalizing it on the internet or anything. I don't have the energy for that anymore. It's just like, if it sucks, it sucks. Okay, we'll move on. At least the old thing was good. Sometimes the thing is good, and sometimes the thing is bad. That's how I feel now. It's great that there's so much Star Trek content out there, because on some degree it's popular and people are enjoying it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have, like, what is it, like 4 or 5 concurrent Star Trek things going on, right? I think that's great, but you know, it doesn't have to be for me at the end of the day. Maybe I'll watch it someday, but you know, that's cool. I like the things that I used to like a long time ago, and TNG is still great, but you know, maybe I don't have to watch the new stuff, because I mean, from your rantings, it doesn't sound great. Well, some of it sounds good, right? Like Strange New World or whatever, Brave New World. That sounds good. But I really do think that Picard was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I was like, I watched the first season and I was like, wow. That's okay. I'm just gonna back away slowly. Vanilla 8,000 schmackaroos. Thank you, Vanilla, and also Ashwin too. Thanks everyone. I did extend it, as you all are probably aware. I extended it, so we have you know, more or less a month left. So that's great. Can I contribute myself? Oh no, I can't contribute myself. I was just about to contribute too. I'm just catching up with the chat, everyone. Give me a sec. Thank you, Eshwin, of course, if I didn't mention already. Strange New Worlds is worth checking out, though. Cool. Someday. And Vanilla, thank you very much, Vanilla. I appreciate it. Eshwin. I have a feeling Keaton fans are gonna get burned in the same way. Yeah. Preparing yourself. Yeah. I mean, hopefully not, but it could happen. To mentally prepare yourself for disappointment. I just, it's when people start going off on the internet and crying about all this stuff. It's like, man, it's okay. You guys, you'll live. These things, they suck, but you'll get over it. Ah, shit. Okay, we can do a light coating of this. So we've been streaming for just about 3 hours and 23 minutes. Usually I go on for 3 hours, but let's just go on for a little bit more, because you know, it's been a while and I miss streaming. I miss talking to all you guys. Miss hanging out. Miss painting also. Jeez, it's been a week, more or less a week, since I've done any hobby stuff. So I'm very eager to get back to this, and I'm really energized to finish up some projects, including the giant. I'm not going to be working on the giant on stream anytime soon, because I need to go buy some more extra materials to finish it off, but that's something that I'd like to finish very soon, well, in the near future. And this model, and then I've got more models to go, and some ideas on things that we can do, some fun quick little models and stuff, and possibly some art that we can start getting into. So yeah, I've got some plans, and hopefully we can pull off those plans and play some games too. Got some games I bought. Still got to get around to doing those. And I'm also looking forward to watching everyone else stream, because like I said, it was a little tricky for me to watch Twitch while I was traveling, because some of the internet that I was on wasn't all that great. So I did try and catch some streams. Eddie at one point, and Vanilla at another point. I was like at a casino in Halifax while I was watching Vanilla. Alright. Okay, this is the last bit of gold that I'm gonna pour out for myself. The last bit of gold. And then we'll try and get a coating of this stuff. And then I'm still gonna work on this stuff later tonight, I think. Actually, Michael Bay ruined my childhood. Bruh, if Michael Bay ruined your childhood must have sucked. Yeah, the Michael Bay statement, the George Lucas raped my childhood stuff. Like, come on, right? At the end of the day, it's just a movie, right? Like, your childhood should just be more than watching movies and stuff, right? Like, as much as I like movies, as much as I like nerdy crap too, as much as I like Transformers and Star Trek and all of that, you know, your childhood should be more than that. It should be playing in forests and shit. I don't know. And also, when I'm done streaming, I'll probably read more of Anne of Green Gables. I'm enjoying that book immensely. You know, everything about like going there and seeing the house, and even though I'm unfamiliar with I was like semi-familiar with the source material, not fully. Like, I was so captivated by the idea of this work of fiction becoming so popular that Canada decided to make it a National Historic Protected Site. That idea alone was so interesting to me, just because so many of these protected sites that we have in Canada are based around war, you know, forts and famous battle sites and battlegrounds and stuff like that, which is important because it's a part of our history also. But yeah, it's just about the one site, to my knowledge, it's born out of a piece of fiction that has, you know, become, that the reality that it was based on has now kind of mixed with the fiction. That's just really interesting to me, and yeah, you can really feel it when you're there in PEI. You can feel how it would inspire someone to write and create their stories. And L.M. Montgomery, the author, she, I don't know, let's say, this isn't the exact number, but she wrote like 80 books or 80 pieces of fiction, right? And all but like one of them take place in PEI. All of her stories take place in PEI because she was that inspired by it, and she wouldn't even live there for the rest of her life, right? She actually would go on to live in Ontario, I think even in Pickering at one point. And it's like she just was so captivated that place that even later in life she would write her stories about that. And I think about that in relation to my own personal life and how, you know, I spent much of my life in Scarborough. And I'm not there now, but so much of my personality, I guess, in some ways have been informed by my experiences growing up in Scarborough. And when I moved, I thought about like my connection to that place and how I might express that. And now that I'm away from it, what kind of perspective would I have? And I've been taking notes and making some sketches as to a project in mind regarding that. And it's not a model, and it's not like a novel or anything. I was thinking about something, and I don't want to talk about it too much because, you know, it's better to just do something rather than to simply talk about your ideas and they never actually come about. So, you know, it made me think about that project that's been on the back burner, and maybe we can start to think about really pushing it a bit more. Maybe it's kind of a elusive talk, I suppose, but yeah, maybe we can kind of get into that more another time. But yeah, I guess that's a good thing about traveling too, like Ashwin said, was it just gives you a perspective of like he was saying, it's good to travel outside of Canada because it gives you a perspective on Canada itself. And similarly, I think that just traveling outside of and your point of origin on a bit of a smaller scale makes you think about that point of origin. Like there's a comic artist, Canadian, very very famous, I suppose, Brian Lee O'Malley. You might remember him as the author of Scott Pilgrim, which they made a movie of, and there's like a video game and everything. And Scott Pilgrim is a story that takes place in Toronto. However, Brian Lee O'Malley doesn't live in Toronto. He hasn't for a good long while. At least that's my understanding. He lives in BC now. But he was saying how being away from Toronto sort of helped him think about it from a different perspective to write his stories. And yeah, it's the same thing with Montgomery, I suppose, in some respects. And yeah, so I've been thinking about that. Okay. Let's see. Just trying to get a nice coat on everything. This is all I've been doing the whole stream, aside from my my brief. Well, it wasn't all that brief, but my photo essay. And I will probably show some more photos or videos at another point in time, because I feel like my pictures weren't that great, and Night Trap took a lot better footage and photos, especially with the whale thing. So I really want to show you guys. So we'll get into that another time. But hopefully that wasn't too boring for you guys. Okay, so. Yeah, I poured out my last bit of gold. Like I've been pouring out gold in little bits and bobs, but I don't feel like pouring out anymore because if I pour out more, then I'll have to paint more. And I've already been going at it for about 3.5 hours, which is pretty good. And we've successfully coated practically everything with at least a good solid coat of the gold. Right? You can see how it's reflective. And again, this is an example of how it looked originally, which in my opinion does not look very good for gold. And while I don't think this is quite perfect just yet, it still looks a lot better. So I'm happy about that. But I think that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So yeah, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'm so happy to be back and refreshed, and now we're ready to get back to streaming and all of that jazz. Very happy to be back and to chat with all of you again. So yeah, thanks to all the regulars. You guys know who you are, for coming in. I do appreciate it, and chatting. That's just great. Very happy about being back and streaming. So look forward to more streams in the future, and I'll catch you guys next time. GG.